Okay. All right. Enough of that. Enough of that music. Let's get into this. Switch over to Maximum Overdrive. Bail, 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 bail. Here I am. Very low in the frame, but here I am nonetheless. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me today, tonight. I know you have your choice of entertainment, and you most likely are not choosing me, but that's because there are so many things else out there for you to look at, for you to watch, for you to experience that doesn't include Apathetic Enthusiasm tonight. That is right. Tonight, Apathetic Enthusiasm. I'm gonna break open a can of beverage for me. And I'll talk about the canned beverage that I'm cracking open here in just a little bit. As people start billowing into the chat, I just want to say thank you for joining us today. It's gonna be a real special one tonight. It's gonna be a real special one. Boy, if you're out there, be sure to send a message. I'll do some typing here. I'm doing some typing, so you know that I'm here. It doesn't seem like there's really much of interest of anything going on right now, because like you're looking at the screen and you're saying there's all the Apathetic Enthusiasm is kind of off center from the Godzilla versus Kong. There's no pop-ups like Godzilla versus Kong is just kind of in the middle of nowhere. What's right next to Godzilla versus Kong? Like, what is supposed to be there? It's supposed to be the follower goal, actually. I think what happened was the title was different before. It was a lot longer, and so I wanted to build some space in, and so therefore now it looks kind of oblong. So thank you for joining. Thank you for watching. Hopefully everyone is going to have a good night. I'm going to have some fun here this evening. While Travis is out. He's out for another couple weeks. So again, it is just me doing my thing with a little agrarian cider to tide me over. Okay. Tonight is a podcast called Apathetic Enthusiasm, and I'm going to talk about the following things. And I should put something here. Like, there's so much extra dead space. I should put a listicle. Like, I'm going to talk about this, and I'm going to talk about this, and I'm going to talk about this. I should do that. I didn't think about that until right now, and I'm not going to do it live. Although I could technically. It's real easy to get that out of the way. All right. I don't have anything to tide anybody over as far as folks who are just coming in, who are just they're scouting around looking for interesting content, and they see a guy who's just talking to himself with nothing interesting on the screen to maintain their interest. And so I'm just going to get into the actual recording of the podcast right now. So if you're here, hang out and throw comments in here. Throw comments in here for anything. Lol. Typing and talking at the same time without looking. Yeah, I did it. No spelling errors. No. Oh, now I have to look. Spelling errors at all. Perfect typing. Okay. Okay, let's see. Make sure I've got the right music. This is the right music. Oh, that's right. That's the wrong music. That's for international RSS. Let me hit record on my Reaper. Starting in 3, 2, 1. Test. Okay, those guys are there. That's good. And we can get right into it. In 3, 2, oh, shit.
You asked for it. Here it is. It's a podcast from Apathetic Enthusiasm.
On this episode, we're talking about King Kong versus Godzilla, Godzilla versus Kong, Outriders, and Creepshow. That's right, virtual Travis. This is Apathetic Enthusiasm, and we are talking about those things today. I am actually Brandon Cruz. I am one of the hosts of the podcast. The other host, Travis, is nowhere to be seen. He is missing in action. I would say he is probably in the middle of Bricktown in Oklahoma City. Not for the NCAA basketball championship, which is going on, but actually for moving, because he's moving to Oklahoma City, and he's there, kind of hanging out with his family, doing their things there. But you know, I can do this by myself. I don't need him. I can even pay attention to myself, moving a bunch of screens so I can try to get this glare out of here. But it's not gonna work. If you wanna hit us up, there's a few things that you could do. This is all general housekeeping. Social media, as they say. If you want to get a hold of the show itself, at Apathusiast on Twitter, at Jugglemino if you want to get a hold of Travis and wonder how Oklahoma City is, how the weather is out there. Is it warm? Is it cold? Are there tornadoes? It is Tornado Alley, as you know. Hit him up at Jugglemino on Twitter. If you want to talk to me, I'm at Barnyard Cruise. Generally, I'm on there retweeting things about movies or telling Matt Sizemore that I'm not going to help him with his podcast, which is a joke. I might talk about that a little bit later. Facebook.com/Apathetic Enthusiasm Show is where you can get a hold of the show. As far as Facebook, if you're following that and you're not afraid of the 500 million person data breach that just happened recently, email apatheticenthusiasmshow@gmail.com. Instagram, apathetic_enthusiasm. We don't do a heck of a lot there. Our website, apatheticenthusiasm.com. You can watch me live. When Travis is back, you can watch us live. And when I'm gone, you can watch Travis live at twitch.tv/apatheticenthusiasm. And then finally, if you want to support this show, you want to support Interdimensional RSS, you want to support Submit for Your Approval, which I'm about to record a couple of solo episodes because I need to get back on track with that. You can go to TeePublic, apatheticenthusiasm.com/shop. You buy a bunch of shirts. They don't have to be ours. If you go to that link, and then you'll be transported to another area, which we will get a part of the commission, or patreon.com/apatheticenthusiasm. And that is that goes directly to us. Okay. And then finally, if you want to start your own podcast, make sure you go to blueberry.com and use the code AEPOD. I don't know if we use that enough in these shows. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Okay. All that out of the way, housekeeping done. It's been great. I want to say this show is brought to you by Keel Farms Agrarian Cider Elderberry. There's a place out here in Tampa called Keel and Curly Winery where they make their own wine and they make some cider. And I went to a 7-Eleven and I just happened to see some of their cider at a local 7-Eleven. So, it's not too bad. It's kind of sweet. It's kind of tart. Maybe a little too sweet for my taste buds, but it's got a 5.3 ABV, which is just the right amount of alcohol to solo podcasts. So cheers to you. That Keel Farms. It's tart and very sweet still. So tonight I am talking about a few things. I am talking about, first, Godzilla versus Kong. If you have not heard, Godzilla versus Kong is one of the latest of the MonsterVerse movies. Godzilla versus Kong, it's pretty cool. It's about like a lizard and it's about a small spider monkey and they go on adventures together, and then in the middle of their adventures, they get kind of angry at each other, and then they start fighting, and it's very cute. It's very cute. It's very adorable. Oh, actually, Godzilla vs. Kong, it just came out in theaters and on HBO Max. It is the sequel, of course, to Godzilla King of Monsters, Kong Skull Island, and the original Godzilla, well, not the original Godzilla remake, but the 2014 Godzilla remake directed by Gareth Edwards, Godzilla. And this is so far as we know, this is the last of those films. They may make more. There's still, Son of Kong. We still need to see him. We need to see like Godzilla Jr. And then there has to be like an animated spin-off, like Godzilla Kong babies, where like there's like a nanny that takes care of them, and you only see the shins down. But this particular one is directed by Adam Wingard, who directed some really good horror shorts and films. He directed The Guest, which was a pretty solid thriller. He directed segments on the anthology film VHS and the second VHS, and then he directed a segment in the ABCs of Death, which that I like that series. 26 short films, all having to do with a letter of the alphabet, and he directed the segment Q for Quack. And then finally, the Blair Witch remake in 2016, not the original Blair Witch. First of all, as an aside, like Adam Wingard, love him, coming from a horror background. Michael Dougherty, who directed Godzilla King of the Monsters, directed Trick or Treat, which is another horror staple in my life. So both great horror directors. I'm glad they came on board. This movie is pretty straightforward as far as, it's a vehicle to get to pit these two titans together. Cinematically, it's so great. They focus, whereas like previous movies, they kind of like shy away from looking at the direct action and seeing where the humans are in relation to these behemoths. This one focuses on what is actually happening on with the monsters. It doesn't cut away or pan away from them too much during the course of the action, which is far and away a much different experience from Gareth Edwards' Godzilla. He directed a film back in the day called Monsters, which is a great concept. It's like a monster movie where it's all from the human's perspective, and you barely see any of the monsters around. And it's almost it. People have said, and I agree, it's more of it's a disaster movie set in the universe of kaiju films, where it's a force of nature rather than we see these giant monsters duke it out. Anyways, we've come a long way. We've gotten to this point where now it's Apollo versus Rocky. It's Rocky versus Drago. It's Rocky versus Apollo again. The matches for the ages. So I don't want to spend too much time on it because it is just me. But I do want to point out, talk about a few things. I mentioned that they focus on the monsters fighting. The common critique of the MonsterVerse films is, of course, that they don't focus too much on the human characters, and their human characters are just exposition dumps, right? They are there to inform the audience of what's going on in the context of these big ass monsters. Which, like to some extent I'm okay with, but I leading into this movie, I had rewatched part of Godzilla King of the Monsters, and particularly Kong Skull Island. And that movie, directed by Jordan Vogt Roberts, is a very, very good movie, and it's my favorite of the four films for sure, because it, even though yes, it's about Kong, the human characters aren't one dimensional. There's actually a story and character arcs with some of them. John C. Riley is in that, and his character, by the end of the film, like the end credits, like thinking about it, like it makes me tear up. Like he is just a fantastic actor, and I don't think any actor in that film ends up going to waste. Versus Godzilla, uh, uh, Bryan Cranston, who's in that movie, wasted in that film. And whoever's in the other ones, right? Because I barely remember the other ones. Kong Skull Island got it, and so then going into Godzilla versus Kong, it's a proof. It's proven concept that you don't have to make the human characters bad or belittle them or don't write them fully to focus on the monsters. You can have both. It's not exclusive. So I would say that it's a downside for me at this point in time. But overall, I think it is a fantastic movie, and I do highly recommend it. And the last bit I'll say about Godzilla vs. Kong is that please, you can watch it on HBOMax. You can. I watched it on HBOMax. But I highly recommend, if you're vaccinated, if you got them double vaxes or a single Johnson and Johnson vax, I think that you should really see it in the theaters, because it is a movie that like I watched it on like my 65-inch TV or whatever it is, with no sound bar or any kind of speakers, and it just does not do it justice. The first time you see Kong swinging a gigantic axe at Godzilla, which, by the way, the axe makes a sense in context as you watch the movie. The first time you see him swinging that, it's just like, fuck. I looked over at Chelsea and said, we need to go see this in the theater. And I plan on it because I just got my second COVID shot. So, masked up, staying away from people, singing in the theaters. That's my plan. That's Godzilla versus Kong. Go check it out. If you've seen the movie and you have thoughts on it, hit me up at Apathetic or at Barnyard Cruise. Let me know if you thought the human characters were underdeveloped, or if you thought they could have gone a different route with Godzilla versus Kong. Because it's possible. They could have. Or they may not have. Maybe this is the director's cut. This is what he wanted on screen. Okay. That is it for Godzilla vs. Kong. Now, after I watched Godzilla vs. Kong, I was kind of bored. I had like a 4-day weekend randomly, and I went on Game Pass, the Xbox Game Pass, and there's a couple games that came out. There was like this noir-ish type of game, like very, very avant-garde style game, and I played that just a little bit. And I played Yakuza. I'd never played Yakuza before. That's on Game Pass. I saw Zen Monkey Studios talking about it on their Twitter. So I'm like, okay, yeah, I hear so much about it. There's 7 games right now of the main Yakuza story, and then there's like an 8th, like Yakuza Like a Dragon, which is like an RPG type game. So I decided to play Yakuza 0, started it up, and it's fun. It's a fun game. But I quickly realized there's a lot of dialogue, there's a lot of story, and how the hell did they make 7 games out of this primary story? Have no idea. And it is a really long game. I played basically like I would say 10 to 12 hours last weekend on it, and I barely put a dent into the game. Like I'm not even sure I'm a quarter of the way through Yakuza 0. So I did recommend that. But the other game that I was waiting for, which is the game I really want to talk about, is a game called Outriders, which is directed by, or not directed by, was developed by the People Can Fly Studios and published by Square Enix. This isn't a game that was on my radar. If you ask Travis if he was here, it wouldn't be on his radar either. I don't think it's not something he would say that that he's been actively tracking. But I saw that you could people could pre-order it, and what really kind of caught my eye was people complaining that it went straight to Game Pass. They had announced that it was going to go straight to Game Pass, which was that was really cool. And I was like, if this AAA game is going straight to Game Pass, then you can count me the F in. I'm going to do it. So day one, I downloaded it. This came out this last Thursday, the 1st of April, the 31st of March, the 1st of April. And it was preloaded. I'm like, okay, I'm going to do it. Thursday, can't log in. The server's messed up. Friday, servers are messed up. We'll get into that in a second. Screw it. We'll get into it now. No, the servers. I couldn't tell you right away what the game was about because I didn't watch any videos. I just knew it was a AAA game that was coming out, so I just downloaded it. And I wanted to get into it, but it was racked with server issues. The first 2.5 days of its release. Much credit to People Can Fly for their social media presence, taking care of people and like trying to keep them informed. But finally got in to play this game. This game is really cool. It is a third-person shooter with RPG elements, similar to, I would say, Destiny. I guess I think Destiny can be third person, or it's also first. It could also be first person. But it's loot based. So you think of The Division, you think of Destiny, you think of like any RPG where you kill things and loot drops, armor, weapons, and you keep Diablo, right? Fancy shooter loot crawler. It takes place in the future where humanity has left Earth, and they have found a different planet. And on this planet, things go awry, and your main character finds himself or herself. I think herself. I don't know. I think you can play it as a female version. You find yourself altered, so to speak, and given powers, which mechanically lets you choose 4 different play styles, like a tank, a sniper with like throw turrets and stuff like that. Like a melee character. I think that one's a trickster. These different powers that this planet has given you. Overall, it's really, really fun. I've played a handful of hours on it so far. I wouldn't mind stopping this podcast right now to actually go play some of it. I should. If you're not watching on stream, that's okay. But if you're watching on stream, I just changed the pictures to Outriders. But yeah. Playing that couple hours, it has been enjoyable. One thing that I'm really looking forward to is this game has crossplay, not just PC to Xbox. No. PC to PS4, PS5. Oh, no. Not just that. Not just that either. PS4, PS5 to Xbox Series X. Yes. All of these things. Stadia, I think, is one of them. I don't know if I ever want to play with somebody from Stadia. But the ability to do that means that the Xbox console wars type thing that has been going on for years and years and years, and Travis and I have talked about this, can finally, that line can start closing where it doesn't matter which platform you're hopping on for some of these games, so long as they're not exclusive, that you can actually start playing with your friends, and it's breaking down a wall, so to speak, a tribalism of consoles. So I'm really looking forward to that. Also, the tribalism of Travis is on the PC and he doesn't really play with his Xbox, but he wants to play PC games with me. And I would love to play PC games with him. Now we have Outriders. So Travis, once you listen to this episode, and you get your house goods shipped to your new place, and you set up your computer, download Outriders, Game Pass, and let's tear this up. And also, if you have been playing Outriders, and I know some of you have been, let me know which classes you've chosen. And I've only gotten up to level 10. If you've gotten further than level 10, let me know how the gameplay ends up changing, if at all. I mentioned like the third person shooter stuff. If you've played Gears of War, that style of game, very similar as far as like the cover system, like dashing to cover. It could be really fun. Okay, let me know what you think over on Twitter or email. I'll pick email this time. apatheticenthusiasmshow@gmail.com. Okay, that is it for Outriders. I have one last topic for us, friends. It is the Creepshow. Creepshow Season 2. It is back. Creepshow is finally back for another season. The first season was about a year and some change ago. A little bit longer than that, actually. The pandemic kind of slowed down filming for season 2. We did get an animated special, 2 animated specials, actually. Loose animated, I would say, where it was more like stills. But really good stuff. The first season, I can talk about this since Travis isn't here, right? The first season was good. There were some, for the most part, they had some really good stories that came out of the first season. Some kind of not stinkers, I would say, but nothing some that don't jump out at you. There was one episode with Rob Schraub had written with like werewolves in World War II, which is really good. But season 2 now comes back, and there's only one episode so far. It's on Shudder. If you have a Shudder subscription, I highly recommend sharing it. Just kidding. And if you don't have a Shudder subscription, head out, get a free trial, and check it out. But the first episode, there are 2 segments in most of these Creepshow episodes. This episode, the first segment is called Model Kid. It was written by John Esposito and directed by the special effects artist Greg Nicotero, who you might also recognize from The Walking Dead. And this story is about a young boy, 9-10 years old, who loves, it takes place in like the 70s. He loves the classic monsters, Dracula, the Mummy, Wolfman, Frankenstein, and he gets picked on at school for loving these monster movies. And his mother is dying of some kind of illness, presumably cancer. And his deadbeat uncle and his loving aunt, they want to move in to assist the sister. And this deadbeat uncle, played by Matthew Dillon, is just a huge asshole and doesn't care about monsters and is telling the kid to just throw that stuff away. And in true Creepshow fashion, the asshole uncle, through karma, eventually gets his due, using all these when the kid uses all his models to wreak havoc. That's not really a spoiler because I described it badly. But that's the first segment. It is what I'll say about the first segment is if you've seen the original Creepshow movie, that was directed by George Romero and written by Stephen King, then you might feel that it's very familiar, this segment, because the envelope story that encapsulates all of the stories in the original Creepshow movie has a very similar plot. Although it's not a deadbeat uncle, it's kind of an asshole dad. It's very recognizable. I think that's the only thing that I kind of hesitate to praise about that segment. But I thought it was good. The second segment is a segment called Public Television of the Dead. And this segment is fun. It is a really fun segment. It's written by Rob Schraub, already mentioned here. Scud the Disposable Assassin, much. Currently writing for Rick and Morty. Again, directed by Greg Nicotero. This episode is so... It is very, very strange. I can't spoil too much about this, but if you are a fan of The Evil Dead, the Sam Raimi films with Bruce Campbell, then you will definitely be a fan of this segment. It guest stars a certain Ted Raimi, Sam Raimi's brother, and the basic plot of this one is there's a public television channel. They're getting ready to do a telethon. There's a lamb chop kind of lady there. There's a Bob Ross character who is doing all this painting. And there's there's like an Antiques Roadshow thing, and that's where Ted Raimi comes in and introduces a certain family heirloom that his family has had for many, many years. By the way, Ted Raimi is playing Ted Raimi in this. So if you know who Ted Raimi is, and you know who Sam Raimi is, and you know a family heirloom that just happens to be some kind of book, then I think you know where this episode is heading. Again, is very, very fun. I had a question about film rights and image rights as far as the book itself goes. I'm sure it has to be legal, but I was like, how is this legal? Does AMC own the rights to Sam Raimi's film? I don't know. But highly recommend this first episode of Creepshow. If all of the episodes after this maintain a consistency of quality, then I think I will enjoy all of it. Here's hoping. Here's hoping. Creepshow season 2. If you like Creepshow, if you like Shudder, let me know. Let me know. I would love to talk to you about horror any place, anytime, except right now, because I'm recording a podcast right now. Okay, I think that is it. That is it for Apathetic Enthusiasm this week. It's real quick, real easy. I know everyone is out there. They're watching NCAA championship basketball between Gonzaga and whoever else. Gonzaga getting there because of the epic buzzer beater against UCLA. Poor UCLA Bruins. But yeah, I know you're not here because of that. Certainly. But if you if you like this episode, if you want Travis back, let me know. Let me know in the comments. Let me know in a Twitter post. Let me send me you go to the UPS store, buy one of those package mailers, and don't mail it, but just buy it, write like a little note on it, and then take a picture of it, and then send it to me via email to apatheticenthusiasmshow@gmail.com. Let me know what you thought. Anyway, okay, I am out. I'm gonna finish this Keel Farms Agrarian Cider Elderberry style, and go play some Outriders. Thank you everyone for listening. Thank you everyone for watching and in the Twitch chat. And until next time, I am Brandon, and I heart you very much. I heart you very much is what I say to those 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 podcast app listeners. I don't heart you. I love you, video viewers. I love you with my heart, all of it, all four quadrants of it. All right. Well, I think that's gonna do it for me for tonight because I really do want to play Outriders, and really, there's no one around tonight, and I didn't prepare interesting content to tide over nobody. So, good night to you, friends, family members, country peoples, and we'll talk to you maybe later this week. I don't know. Maybe I'll do a Twilight Zone episode live. I don't know. I don't know if I'll have enough time. Okay. Bye. Bye. Oh, I need a goodbye screen. I should get a goodbye screen.